Good evening and welcome to the 99th annual Hockey Games! It's Sunday, October 16th. Are you excited for the start of the NHL season? Because I am. This is Pucknology Writers Room. Tonight, our panel welcomes a new member, and we'll discuss the Sharks' 2-0 start, injury troubles for some key NHL stars, the latest on RFA contract holdouts, and a look at this season's rookie crop. Plus, if you're watching live on YouTube and you would like for us to discuss any other topics, please comment in the Google chat or send your tweets to @Pucknology using the hashtag PucknologyWR. Now, tonight, the Edmonton Oilers had a backup for all of 10 minutes, and then they had nobody to bail out Cam Talbot. However, Ian Reed wasn't able to make our podcast this evening, but we do have a backup, and it's Hockey Jerk. Welcome, Hockey Jerk.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for filling in here. You're a great, better Jonas Gustafsson. So, providing a fresh new perspective to Pucknology Writers Room this evening, please welcome Anna Q. Anna.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And then, imitated but not duplicated, we are all Kevin, but it's me, the real Kevin Lacey.
Hey!
And, of course, yay! And last but not least, tonight is your master of buttons, Drew Weber.
All right, that's right, everybody. I'm going to be your host today. Unfortunately, Ian Reed can't be on the show because his internet is pretty banged up. Now that
segues.
He's a last-minute healthy scratch.
Exactly, yeah. But speaking of banged up, our first topic today is going to be all these freaking injuries that are happening right now. The most notable one, at least so far, is the Sidney Crosby concussion. He got it, guess, during training camp, although there's some speculation that he may have gotten it during the World Cup of Hockey. And we're not quite sure how long he's going to be out for, but he missed the end of the preseason and both regular season games so far. So what does this mean for Pittsburgh? Is Pittsburgh in trouble right now? Should they be concerned if Crosby's out long term? Kevin, I'll start with you. Oh, sorry, wait, no, Hockey Jerk, I'll start with you.
You are all Kevin.
We're all Kevin.
Pittsburgh is not in trouble here because they have a really, really deep team. And yes, Crosby's the leader, and yes, he complements it, but their team is still very deep regardless. So I think there's going to be very little drop-off in production from their team as a whole.
All right, Anna, what do you think about Crosby being out?
I don't think it's going to have a major impact on the Pens team because, like Hockey said, they're really deep. Although, according to CBSSports.com, Crosby skated on his own Saturday. Coach Mike Sullivan said, "Everything to this point has been encouraging. We'll take it each day as it comes." What do you guys think about that quote?
Yeah, it'll be the sooner Crosby comes back, the better, pretty much, because you don't want to have your superstar, one of the best players in the world, out long term. But that being said, though, like you guys said, Pittsburgh's going to be just fine. I mean, oh no, Yevgeny Malkin is your first line center. Whatever shall we do? So you have that. The HBK line is the second line that they've torn it up at every, in the playoffs and in the regular season. So while it is a big loss for Pittsburgh, it won't be devastating for them. They're still going to be competitive. Kevin, what do you think?
Let me just preface this by saying to you guys here this evening, there are no such things as concussions in hockey. There is no scientific evidence to support your claims. Sidney Crosby tripped at home and hit his head on the wall. He's perfectly fine. But speaking of perfectly fine, yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins will be perfectly fine. You basically stole my thunder there with Malkin because, yeah, hello, Malkin, Kessel with his so-called broken hand, sniping shots left and right. They'll be fine. They got enough depth. They won the cup.
Exactly. Yeah, this team is as deep as it gets. They are the team to beat in the NHL right now, much like Chicago was, for the past 5 years or so. But this is Crosby's third concussion. I know his first one had him out for over 10 months. So if you're Sidney Crosby, should you be concerned about your career and how it might be impacted by these concussions? Kevin, I'll go back to you on this.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. As someone who has suffered a significant concussion while playing amateur hockey. See, I already have a concussion because I can't even say amateur correctly. But it does affect your lifestyle. And Dan Boyle, when he suffered his concussion, thanks to Maxime Lapierre, it took him a long time to recover from that. And Sidney Crosby, the more he gets hit, the higher the risk is. It's crazy. Jonas Gustafsson, big concussion history, went out tonight for the Oilers. So Sidney, gotta watch out.
Yeah, it's like, you see all the player Tribune articles about, concussions and stuff like that. For Sharks fans, the Dan Boyle incident was probably the biggest story we had about concussions in a very long time. Hockey Jerk, let's go to you.
As speaking as someone who has also had a concussion playing hockey, it definitely is a big deal. Whether you've had 1 or 2 or 5, it's always going to be a big deal. That being said, I think Crosby is a true professional, and I think he knows what he needs to do to get back into game form to where he won't have to kind of always think, oh, this might be it, this might be it. I think he knows what he needs to do to get back into game shape.
Anna.
I think he has the right to be worried to a certain extent, because I've also gone through concussions, 3 actually. They ruin your physical and mental health. So even if you recover from the concussion, you won't be the same, especially when you play sports.
Yeah, I've never been through a concussion, but I was actually at the game that Hockey Jerk got injured on, and yeah, they can have an impact on you.
Do you guys think that Crosby's the kind of guy to err on the side of caution? Because a guy like Jonathan Toews, for example, I don't think he's had any documented concussions, but Toews is Captain Serious and all that. He seems like a guy who would do anything, come back early, jump into the play, and risk himself again. Do you guys think Crosby's that same kind of leader? I don't know if leader's the right word for that, but
I don't think so.
Risk.
I don't think so because of his first concussion, how serious that was. I think he knows to err on the side of caution. The other thing is that he plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins, which, as we've said before, is a team that's plenty deep enough. So it's not like he needs to rush to come back in order for Pittsburgh to be competitive. He can take his time and they'll be just fine. Anna, what about you? What do you think about that?
I agree with you, but the thing is, I don't think Crosby is the type of leader like Jonathan Toews. He just doesn't have that personality trait, in my opinion. I feel like he would want to go through his recovery first. He wouldn't get back on the ice right away.
Jerk, what about you?
I think Sidney Crosby is just like every other NHL player. He wants to play. He always wants to be playing. As much as it's, I guess, weird to think about, he's a guy who always wants to be in regardless of what's going on. And so, as I alluded to earlier, I think he's definitely a guy who's going to take the steps he needs to take to get back to game form. But at the same time, when called upon, he's going to be first to jump into it because he's a guy who truly loves the game and he loves playing it. Yeah.
Another team that's kind of getting killed by the injury bug is the Buffalo Sabres. They have both Jack Eichel and Evander Kane out. Eichel could be out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury, and Kane has 3 broken ribs. So he's going to be out for, quote, weeks, because, that's the extent of what the NHL can give you in terms of a timeline. Those are 2 of Buffalo's best players. Can they stay afloat without them? Hockey Jerk, what do you think?
I do not think that they can, because those 2 guys are a big piece of their forward core. Yes, they have Sam Reinhart and Ryan O'Reilly, among others. But again, these are 2 very big players, and it kind of sucks because Buffalo was a team I had not necessarily making the playoffs, but definitely being a team that can kind of scare a 7th, 8th seed team into playing a little better, just because they do have that talent up front, and their back end isn't really that much worse.
Kevin.
I don't think that the Sabres would make that much of an impact even with Eichel and Kane. And it's not to say that they're a bad team. I think they're a decent enough team. But as Hockey Jerk mentioned, they're not a playoff team yet. And without Eichel and Kane, well, let's say without Eichel, they probably... Sorry, I thought your Carolina Hurricanes just scored there for a second, but it's a TV timeout. Anyway, the Jack Eichel being their superstar player, that's a huge loss. Evander Kane probably was going to get himself into trouble anyway and be out of action within a week. So,
Hannah, what do you think?
Well, I originally had the Sabres as a sleeper pick before the beginning of the regular season, but I'm not sure anymore. They're just a decent team. I don't think the loss of Eichel and Kane are going to affect them to a great extent, but it's just not good for the team because Eichel will miss 6 weeks due to a high ankle sprain, and Kane has 3 cracked ribs. That is not good for anyone.
Yeah, they're definitely tough losses. I didn't think Buffalo was going to make the playoffs this year either, but now they'd have like no hope in the world, I think. That first line is fine, but after that, there's really not much there. I think their second line is Molson, Gergensen, and Fasching, if I'm saying that correctly. And really, Molson's the only second line guy. He's the only guy who really belongs up that high on the depth chart. So I think, that the I can't talk right now. The team's depth is going to really get exploited because of these injuries. Now,
hopefully Brian Giunta can step for them because he's kind of like, even though he's, isn't he the captain for them?
Yep.
Yeah, he's kind of also the forgotten soldier for them. And tonight he had 2 goals against the Oilers, but it was the Oilers. So a guy like him is going to need to step it up.
Yeah, you definitely need that kind of leadership. And speaking of stepping it up, LA is going to need some goaltender to stand up because Jonathan Quick is out 3 to 4 months. All right, after that injury he got against San Jose, he's going to be out of commission for a while. Now they're stuck with Budaj and Zatkov. So what do you think LA is going to do in that time? Are they going to try to sign one of the free agent goalies? Are they going to stand pat? Or are they going to try to make a move for a goalie? And if so, what goalie are they going to go for? Hockey Jerk.
I think that the LA Kings are going to need to pick up a 1B goalie at some point because you're not going to be able to ride out Zatkov and Budaj. Let's think about this for a second. Zatkov was the number 3/4 goaltender for Pittsburgh last year, and Budaj, while he was the starlet of the AHL, he has not had NHL success for a long time. That being said, I think a good pickup for LA would be Andre Pavlik from the Jets, and that's because he's an asset that the Jets can afford to get rid of, seeing as they're giving Connor Hellebuck what I would assume to be a load of the starts. So yeah, Andre Pavlik to the Kings. That's my prediction.
And I believe Pavlik got sent down to the AHL too recently, correct?
Yeah, he did.
So that would make him a good option. He's definitely a good trade bait. That's actually who I had LA going after was Pavlik as well. Kevin, what do you think?
It's got to be Andre Pavlik because not only the fact that he'll be super cheap for Winnipeg to get from Winnipeg in terms of just Winnipeg's got 2 goalies already. Obviously, if Pavlik was of any value to them, he wouldn't be in the minors right now. The other thing is that Pavlik is only has 1 year left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
so
correct.
The Kings would not be saddled with a guy like Jimmy Coward, I believe, has 2 years left and is making more money. And
I believe he actually has 3.
3 years, 3 years left. No, thank you.
Team is doomed.
Yeah, so the Kings being financially strapped as they are, they're going to have to do some shuffling around, even with Quick on long-term IR, but they're not going to want someone beyond this year because, hey, Quick is still their goalie long-term.
Exactly. Anna, what say you?
I agree with all of you guys about how Andre Pavelec should be a goalie for the Kings, because I don't think the goalie duo of Zakov and Budash will be a long-term solution for the team, even though Zakov was one of the backup goalies for Pittsburgh last year, because you have to keep in mind that these aren't the same Kings that we've seen in 2012 and 2014. They have to stay healthy, get secondary scoring from Anze Kopitar, Jeff Carter, Tyler Toffoli, and Dustin Brown, and get younger and faster, as well as work on defense.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. It's going to be Pavelec to the Kings, E5. Kevin, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to bounce something off of you guys. I had the Kings second in the division this season, and I think most of us did pick the Kings to at least be a plaff team, I think.
Yeah. I would like the record to show that I did not.
See, okay.
Okay, Mr. Coyotes.
No, I picked the Coyotes to make the playoffs too, though. But this goes along with what Hockey Jerk said. There are people that feel that the Kings are kind of down and out, and even worse now without Jonathan Quick. If they really are that team, should they even go after Andre Pavelec? Should they do kind of like a one-year rebuild and get themselves prepared for next year?
They probably should, but they won't. That's the thing. Is like that would be because they don't have a chance at a cup this year. I don't think they do. That team isn't deep enough. So I think a one-year reset would be more appropriate than, say, what the Sharks did or attempted to do 2 years ago. But I don't think they will.
John Scott is a free agent available for a contract.
Dude, put John Scott on a line with Dustin Brown, goon it up. Anna, what do you think? Do you think they should try to do a reset year and maybe get a higher draft pick?
Yeah, I think, but probably won't, because this is the Kings we're talking about. This year's Blackhawks don't look good so far either. Just one of my observations lately.
Yeah, both those mighty teams are kind of struggling to start out of the gate here. Hockey Jerk.
I absolutely believe the Kings need to do a reset. Will they? Probably not, because this is the same team who 2 seasons ago, when they were technically in a reset, dealt a promising defensive prospect and a first-round pick for 12 games of Andrei Sekera.
Never forget.
So you have to wonder, even if they do, tank or whatever you want to call it for a high first-round pick, we've seen in the past that their history of holding on to first-round picks is pretty much non-existent, at least in the 2000s and 2010s. So I'd have to think that they might get a little complacent and try and move that pick for a piece that ultimately will not help them.
Yeah, I feel like they do need a reset, and it looks like we all agree here that they should reset because that team is trending downwards very rapidly, and the other teams, Edmonton, Calgary, and Arizona, they're really trending upwards. Moving on, so that was it for really the big injuries that have happened recently. A lot of new contracts were signed, though, and a lot of the RFA holdouts have signed. We have Johnny Gaudreau signed with the Calgary Flames, 6 years by 6.75 AAV. Kucherov got 3 years by 4.25 AAV. Ristolainen gets 6 years at $5.4 million per year, and Rickard Rakell gets 6 years at $3.8 million a year. Any of these contracts really stand out to you guys? Any of them that you like or hate? Hockey Jerk.
They all stand out to me in the sense that they are all really good deals for very young, promising players. That Johnny Gaudreau contract, I don't know how they got him to agree to a 6-year deal under $7 million, considering in his very short time in the NHL, he has gotten better statistically every year. And this is a guy who put up close to 80 points on a non-playoff team last year. And despite his size, is very Martin St. Louis-esque in terms of his ability to rack up points. As for Kucherov, I see that being just a kind of a stopgap until some of their higher paid, depth guys sort of come off. Ristolainen, it's a good signing. It goes back to what I said about Buffalo's defensive core. And same thing with Rickard Rakell. I think it's a very underrated signing just because he's a guy who has shown he can score 20 goals in the NHL, and you have him for under $4 million. I think it's a bargain for Anaheim.
Yeah, for me, that Gaudreau contract is excellent because he's worth He's worth 6.75 now, and he's only going to get better. He's 23. So by the time he hits 26 or something like that, he's going to be unreal. He is a superstar right now who is worth close to $8 million, in my opinion. So to get him for 6.75 is an absolute steal. Anna, I'm going to go to you next.
All of these deals stood out to me, especially Goodrew and Kucherov, but more Goodrew because, as you mentioned, 6.75 million a year is a steal, and he is Johnny Hockey for a reason, even though he's not on a playoff team. Well, at least not as of right now.
It could very well be this year, though. Kevin.
The Ristolainen one is, I don't know how I feel about that one because I don't think he's there yet. But at the same time, he has a massive ceiling. And if you're the Sabres, you don't want to wait until he gets really good and then he commands $6-7 million per year. So they're really putting a lot of faith in Ristolainen, and I think that's the right call. The Raquel one, that one's hard for me because Raquel was probably the best Ducks forward, let's be honest, last year, even more than Perry and Getzlaf and Kessler. But it's a 6-year deal at $4 million, and that basically means that Raquel is going to be a top-line player for a number of years to come. And do you guys think Raquel is a top-line player or second-line player?
I feel like he's that complementary top-line player.
Okay.
If the people around him are good. I'm not sure what any of you guys think. Anna, what do you think about that? You think Raquel could play top-line for 6 years?
Yeah, I think he could play top-line for 6 years as long as he stays healthy and the lines around him could continue to do well. Like you said, complementary.
Hockey Jerk.
I think he absolutely can, especially because, this last year he kind of came into his own, and the logic behind giving him a 6-year deal is that he continues to develop. And I mean, yeah, 6 years is kind of a long time, but you look at the annual average value, it's very low risk in terms of dollars. If anything, it's a very movable contract, especially in the back half of it. Say he doesn't pan out. I really have no qualms with any of these extensions.
That's true, guys. That's good. I guess what the question I really meant to say was, do you guys think he's already peaked, or can he develop into that player who deserves 6 years at $24 million, basically $24 million?
Well, the thing is, though, even if he is already peaked, 6 years at $3.8 million per year is a good deal for, like I said, a guy who can score 20 goals.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the contract is good because it is that low dollar amount. If it was higher for that length, I would not like it. But if you're trading off years for dollar amount, and especially with Anaheim's internal cap, I think it's okay. We have 2 RFA holdouts still, Trouba and Lindholm. What do you guys think is going to happen to those guys? Are they going to wait it out through December and not play this year? Are they going to get moved? Are they going to sign? What's going on? Hockey Jerk.
Lindholm, I think, will sign eventually. I did read yesterday that they are not close, but there has to be something's got to give at some point, because Lindholm, he is one of their best defensemen, along with Fowler and Vatanen. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me for Anaheim to be like, well, you're our best defenseman, but we don't want to pay you like it, because that's just ridiculous. With Trouba, on the other hand, honestly, I think he's really good. I think he deserves a nice payday, but he's not guilty. I guess he's a victim of being stuck behind other guys who are just as good, if not better than him. And we all know how important that lefty-righty pair is, because you can't go without it. That being said, I think the Jets would be smart to move him, considering he's got a lot of value, and theoretically the Jets could use a upgrade to their forward core. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I definitely think they could too. Anna, what do you think is going to happen with Trouba and Lindholm?
About Trouba, I'm not sure if he is going to stay around for the long time because of the trade demand and contract dispute with the Jets. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but Trouba remained at home during the Jets' first 2 games, both showing promise that this young team could contend this season, but he's in limbo right now. He's almost like a forgotten player.
Interesting. Kevin?
Trouba, I don't really know what the Jets are yet. I don't know if they're a playoff team or if they're just a really young team that's still working their way through the standings. And that's really going to be what decides when Trouba signs. If Trouba signs, I really think Trouba will be traded before December 1st. But I don't think Trouba holds the ball as tight as he thinks he does right now. And I really think he should be under contract, even if it's only a 1-year deal. And then Lindholm, just watch the highlights from the Anaheim New York Islanders game this evening, because granted, the Ducks lost in overtime, and it's overtime, and Josh Bailey scored a fantastic goal. However, on the play, Corey Perry was just kind of ho-hum, throw my stick, hope for the best. Andrew Cogliano decided to do the Burnsy slide and got completely just owned. And I don't know what defenseman was even out there with those two, because he wasn't in the frame on any of the replay angles. So if that's the Ducks defense this year, Hampus Lindholm asked for $11 million per year.
Yeah, the Ducks defense I haven't been a fan of for a while, and they definitely do need Lindholm. However, I think both Trouba and Lindholm are going to be traded. Trouba demanded the trade already. So, I mean, that's my main thing of that is like Trouba's not going to sign with Winnipeg if he can get the trade. And I think Lindholm is getting traded because of Anaheim's internal cap. I think they had a choice between Raquel and Lindholm, and they chose Raquel. And because of that, they're going to try to start making calls about people who want to take Lindholm for what he wants. Kevin, I see you nodding. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, that's a good point, because I would think that Lindholm would be on their the top of their priority list. And maybe there is something going on internally where they're like, okay, this is not going to happen. Let's at least get Raquel under contract. So you might be right about Lindholm being traded.
If the Ducks do have to trade Lindholm, it's going to be because of their own stupidity. Let's be real here. Why? Okay, you look at the Ducks decor. It has Vatanen, it has Fowler, it has Lindholm. Then you've got guys like Shea Theodore, Brandon Montour, Josh Manson, all in the pipe, and yet you still are possessed to give a depth guy like Clayton Stoner some big bucks, which is dumb to begin with. And then the following summer,
he needs the money to go hunting.
The following summer, you give up assets for Bieksa and then sign him to, again, another dumb deal. Like, I don't mean to just go right out and I guess be a jerk about it, or maybe I do, but it's just these boneheaded moves that honestly don't make me feel bad for the Ducks brass, because it's their own fault if they have to trade Lindholm.
Yeah, and I don't know why, if you're presented with the option between Raquel and Lindholm, that you'd pick Raquel over Lindholm. Because, like you said, that decor definitely needs some work. Moving on into our next segment, rookies have been lighting it up, especially if you're a rookie in Toronto. Austin Matthews scores 4 goals in his debut. Mitch Marner and Connor Brown also score in their second game. Could have been Shark Zach Werenski. Scored against San Jose for his first career goal, and so did Anderson. He also scored in that game. Kevin, come on, I really wanted Werenski.
No. That's why I'm second. Like, I really wanted Werenski.
I wanted Werenski very badly, and I know Hockey Jerk hates me for it, but I really wanted him.
Yeah,
but,
I have my face in my hands right now because I can't get over how into him you are.
I can see it through your icon. But rookies have been lighting it up so far. So I want to know, what rookies have you guys taken notice of, either in a good way or a bad way? Hockey Jerk, I'll start with you. You're our prospects guy, or one of them.
Oh, geez.
You want me to go to Kevin?
No, it's fine. I mean, it's a total cop out, but the obvious answer is Austin Matthews. Even when he's not scoring goals, he's so smart on both sides of the puck. But honestly, a guy who a lot of people, and I don't want to say any names, but a lot of people were saying that Mitch Marner was not going to be able to stick around because of, his size or whatever you want to call it. But I'm a huge fan of Mitch Marner, and I think he totally has what it takes to stay in this league. You look at plays like last night, he was drawing penalties, scoring goals. I wouldn't say he got overly physical, but, he wasn't just kind of getting pushed around either. I think he's definitely a guy who can stick around in the NHL despite his size. I mean, you look at Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Kane, Martin St. Louis, Dan Boyle. These are all guys who said they couldn't crack it because of their size, and look what they did.
Kevin.
Well, unfortunately for me, I have hardly been able to watch hockey this year, and that's blasphemy, but it is true. I know. So I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. However, I will go with one that kind of caught me off guard, and that was Beauvillier for the Islanders, and to the point where all of a sudden his first name blanks on me. I know it starts with an A, and it's going to bother me that I can't remember it. But Beauvillier I think he's just a fantastic prospect. He's got a ton of speed. He's got really good quickness to him. And as we saw with the Penguins, quickness wins Stanley Cups. So that one came out of nowhere because the Islanders, Garth Snow has been kind of a guy, and Jack Capuano have been guys that have been really supportive of the long-term veterans like Eric Bolton, Steve Bernier, and now okay, they claimed P.A. Parento from waivers, they waive him. So they waived P.A. Parento. And so now you're starting to see a different kind of system with the Islanders. So guys like Beauvillier, and then of course Barzal, getting opportunities. That's a little something new.
Anna, any rookies standing out to you?
Well, besides Austin Matthews and his 4-goal game, Pavel Zacha from the New Jersey Devils has stood out to me because he notched an assist, 3 hits, and a +1 rating in Thursday's season opening game against the Panthers, even though the Devils lost 2-1 in overtime. Over the course of his first 2 NHL games, Zacha has 3 helpers and a +5 rating, along with 5 shots on goal and 4 hits. He is the Devils' third-line center, but the 19-year-old has seen a strong 15-28 of ice time Thursday, and he should be in consideration when it comes to the rookie campaign, especially if he gets promoted to a better line.
Yeah, Zacha is turning it up out there. I'm going to kind of list off some rookies. I want to see what you guys think of them. First one is Patrick Laine. 2 points in 2 games, +2.
Sorry.
Jeez, Kevin.
No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to say hate him to whoever you said first. So.
2 points in 2 games, +2 rating. Pretty decent possession numbers thus far. Granted, we're only 2 games into the season. What do you guys think of? Is Laine going to keep going at a point per game pace? Let's go, Kevin.
Well, again, granted, I hardly saw any hockey. I did watch Laine play in the 3rd period in OT of the last Jets game. And I guess it was Thursday's Jets game. And he was looking really strong and much more comfortable than he did during the World Cup, because I thought he kind of looked a little doe-eyed, even though he's 6'5" and a complete tank. So it was nice to see that training camp settled him down, and he's going to be a good one for sure. I have always been on the side of Austin Matthews, and I felt that Austin Matthews, like right now, I have huge bragging rights because of that 4-goal game. But Patrick Laine is a very solid player, and he'll be right in there for the Calder this year.
Anna, what are your thoughts on Laine? Is he going to keep being this good, or is playing on the Jets going to cost him a bit?
I think he's going to keep going. The Jets are a team without an identity, though, so I'm not sure if if they'll make the playoffs, but I think he is going to create some headlines in the hockey world.
All right. Hockey Jerk.
I mean, I hope so, just because it's about time the Jets finally get some help. I think
Connor Hellebuck. They have all the help they need now.
Don't get me started, Drew.
My boy.
No, I mean, you think about how the Jets roster is constructed. Line A is pretty much being put into the position to succeed. I mean, there's no, veterans that are kind of chomping at the bit to kind of get back into the good graces of the coach, and there's no real prospects that are kind of chomping at the bit either to get a spot, because the Jets are already playing him and Ehlers and Kyle Connor. So, I mean, I don't want to say he doesn't have, I guess, motivation, because nobody is kind of chomping at him, but then at the same time, it kind of gives him the freedom to just do his thing and sort of see what works and what doesn't work. And so I think he's going to have a really good season. Probably not, Austin Matthews-esque, but he's going to be somebody the Jets count on for sure.
All right. Another person I want to talk about. Granted, the Coyotes have a whole bunch of rookies coming in that Hockey Jerk will just drool all over for. But I'm going to kind of ask you guys about a more, I don't want to say obscure one, but a more surprising one with Jacob Chychrun. I personally didn't expect him to crack the Coyotes roster, but he's been playing. Granted, I think he's been on that third D pair. He has 1 point in 2 games, playing, bottom pair of minutes. So what do you guys think? Is Chychrun going to stay in the NHL, or is this just kind of like, let's give him 9 games and see what happens? Hockey Jerk, you're a resident Coyote sympathizer. What do you think?
I think he is going to get 9 games, and then they're going to send him back to Sarnia, just because he was billed as a guy who could, produce offensively like an NHL caliber defenseman, but the defensive side of the game is something he still needed to work on. I agree with you 100%. I did not expect him to make the lineup. That being said, if he can stick around, just more of a youth movement for the future Western Conference champion Arizona Coyotes to be happy about.
Anna, what do you think about Chychrun? Is he here to stay, or is he just kind of getting a tryout?
I was getting the tryout mainly because the Coyotes have a bunch of 20-year-olds and teenagers on the team. I just know that they beat the Flyers in overtime in their season opener. And I think that's good, but the Coyotes have to keep going. And you don't know how these rookies are going to be down the road.
Kevin.
Well, they got to have Chychrun in the lineup for the Arizona Coyotes before Arizona moves somewhere next year.
Seattle. Let's go. Seattle.
I just wanted to go there. That's all. Chychrun I can't see him playing the entire season for the Coyotes. It's a shocker, though, that he made that team, because I actually think their defense isn't as bad as people, or some people think anyway. I like Stone. I like Murphy. McCulloch is still serviceable. There's some Larson Ekman guy. Ekman Larson guy. Some guy like that.
He's kind of good at hockey.
Yeah, he's okay. So
you can't forget about Alex Goligoski.
Well, I was trying to before you interrupted me, Hockey Jerk, but that's okay.
Sorry, I'm just so passionate.
You could have at least gone with "Don't forget about Luke Shen," because then I would have thrown you off the show. But not a big Luke Shen fan. But that's just me.
He's going to lead that team in hits. You watch.
Take him on your fantasy team right now. Hits are worth more.
But yeah, Chychrun, good for him though, because for falling in the draft as far as he did. Well, he still was drafted 11th.
And then falling in the game last night.
But what I was gonna go with was Zach Devine put out this tweet about when the Coyotes played the Sharks during the preseason. And some random person who I think was just kind of reading stuff online said, I hear Chikrin's doing a great job. His passing is right up the speed. And Zach Devine said, yeah, I passed it to Rourke Chartier right up the gut. Real nice, So I was like, oh, dear. Chikrin must not be doing so well. But he must have because he made the team. But, yeah, it'll be a tryout.
I mean, I have no doubt that Chikrin is going to be a at least a number 3 defenseman in the NHL, probably top 2 at some point. I like that the Coyotes were able to get him in the draft, although I wasn't a fan of how much they gave up for him. But yeah, I think this is a tryout. I don't think he's NHL ready yet. Another one that Hockey Jerk really loved, Matthew Tkachuk playing on the Flames. Another one that people thought, maybe he won't make the roster this year, but it'll be kind of a slam dunk next year. Tkachuk, though, he's played 3 games. He's a -1. He has 0 points. Playing on that third line or playing third line minutes, and his possession numbers they're okay. Is Tkachuk staying up, or do you guys like him? Do you think he's a good fit for the team this year, or does he need more time to develop? Kevin?
I think that the Flames really liked Tkachuk when they thought they were going to make the playoffs this year. Okay, it's only 3 games, but boy, what is going on with the Flames? Because what is it? 14 goals against in 3 games. The fact that Tkachuk is only -1. Hey, good for him. Maybe he should play the team the whole year because he'll lead the team at a -10 at the end of the year for the way they've been playing. But yeah, Tkachuk. We'll see. It really does depend on how they do their first 9 games or so. Because if the Flames continue to falter, there's no use exposing Tkachuk to such horrid play. But if they can figure things out and become the team that is expected to at least contend for a playoff spot, he might be able to stick around.
Hockey Jerk.
I think it's the same kind of thing as Chikrin. I think Tkachuk gets his 9 games, and I think he goes back to London. And honestly, I was excited for him, just because he's a bigger body and, he's obviously a very physical player. And I think Calgary could use a better blend of skill and physicality. But, I mean, granted, like Kevin said, we are only 3 games in. But in my eyes, if you are a junior eligible player trying to make the NHL, your goal should be to be better than the current players already there. And I don't think that he has been. Other than that, I really enjoy, kind of thinking about where Tkachuk will be in the next few years, because I definitely think he is the real deal. And by no means did he ride shotgun with Mitch Marner in London last year. He was a big part of that line.
Anna, your thoughts on Matthew Tkachuk?
I don't think he is going to get a roster spot anytime soon, like for the long term, but he did make the Battle of Alberta a lot more interesting, even though they lost 7-4 to Edmonton on opening night. According to Elite Prospects, he's a multi-dimensional energy winger who plays a pro-style adaptive game. I'm excited to watch him, but I don't think he is ready to be in the NHL yet. He still needs time to develop.
I do agree that I don't think he's doing that well with the team right now, but I just kind of want to throw something out there. How much do you think Tkachuk is going to develop in juniors versus how much he could develop while playing in the NHL? Hockey Jerk, I'll throw that one over to you.
Here's the thing is, I think size alone, I think Matthew Tkachuk is NHL ready, but I would like to see one more year in junior just so he can kind of, hone his craft and I guess get used to having that big of a body and trying to move around at a very fast-paced NHL. I mean, it's a shame that he can't go to the AHL, but I guess that's the way that junior hockey works.
Exactly. It's like that was the big thing for me was like if he was AHL eligible, then yeah, I'd be like throw him in the minors. He can, play against a men kind of thing. Just the fact that he's going to play against, kids kind of concerns me to see how much he'll really improve in the junior league versus the NHL. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I think Kachuk will be fine. I look at a guy like Mitch Marner. I really think Mitch Marner has nothing left to prove at the OHL. I think Kachuk could at least, go out there and dominate. I mean, because if the Flames, again, I feel like the Flames will only send Kachuk bad if they are horrible to start the season, here in a couple of weeks. So Kachuk going back to the OHL, you would want to kind of save his confidence in a way, because I just don't think it's beneficial for a young player to be around just a disaster of a team, no matter in any kind of situation, unless they are the star, and Kachuk's not the star. Goodrow is. So
yeah, look at Mikko Rantanen with Colorado last year. He's very highly touted, and then he makes the NHL, and in his 9 games, I don't think he had a single point. But then they sent him to San Antonio, and he was pretty sure he led the whole AHL in points as an 18/19-year-old. So it's the same kind of thing. I by no means am I saying Matthew Tkachuk is a bust, because it's been 4 months since the draft, but I definitely think he's a guy who will benefit from not playing in the NHL this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, Tkachuk was one of the people I didn't think would make the team right out of the start. So him getting the opportunity thing is a good, him getting the 9 games is good for him. Anna, what do you think?
I have to agree with what you just said. Like, I didn't expect Tkachuk to make the team, but the fact that he's getting the opportunity to do so is good. He just has to keep up and have a strong mindset, because the team around him is kind of a mess right now.
All right. Last rookie I want to talk about, Jesse Puljujärvi, the man who fell into Edmonton's lap at 4th overall and got Taylor Hall traded. Puljujärvi, 1 goal in 2 games, +1 rating. He's getting killed in possession, though. Like, I think he has 1 shot attempt at even strength. So what do you guys think of Puljujärvi? Is he sticking around? Is he going to be playing the full year? Or is he going to be an asset to Edmonton this year? Or is he just going back? Kevin? All right, Hockey Jerk.
Same kind of thing. I think Puljujärvi would be better suited playing in Bakersfield. But you think about the history of the Oilers, they really like rushing their prospects. And so I think he's going to stick this year, which, granted, if he can stay with one of their main 3 centers, McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, or Draisaitl, I think he'll be fine. But I'm just worried that, he's not going to score at as rapid of a pace that people would like, and then he's going to go on the 4th line, and then Edmonton fans are going to have a cow because he's not their best player. And so it's why I think he would benefit from being in the AHL, just to kind of shun him from the very, I guess, strict Canadian media scrutiny. But yeah, like I said, I still think he stays just because that's the way Edmonton operates.
Anna, what do you think? Is he staying around?
Yeah, I also think he is going to stay around. I mean, he is a winger who is 6'3", weighs 203 pounds. He combines size, skating, and skill. Like Hockey Jerk said, that is just the way Edmonton works. They are going to keep him around.
All right. Kevin, do you think Puljujärvi's staying with the Oilers this year? Is he going to Bakersfield?
Yeah, I think he'll stick around because nobody wants to go to Bakersfield. I mean, come on. No, I've just memed it like all the other teams this week. But
no, Bakersfield deserves it. It's like going to Stockton. Who wants to go to Stockton?
Yeah. Oh, I had a good Stockton thing today too, and I can't think of it. Oh, and then if we're gonna list off AHL teams real quickly, going back to the Kings thing, I am really happy for the Jonathan Quick injury, because Peter Budaj finally is not in the AHL, and the Barracuda might actually be able to beat the Reign for a game this year or 2.
Yeah, that team doesn't have stacked goaltending anymore. But yeah, Kevin, Puljujärvi, you think is staying up?
Yeah, I do. I think that it's a small sample size for him right now, like all of them. But Pucknology I've been heard about this guy since he was about 15 years old. So I may be a little bit biased, but I think the world of the kid. I think he's got amazing talent. And I think that Pucknology's lack of success so far is just kind of par for the course for the Oilers. I think the Oilers are just going to be another really inconsistent team that is just trying to find their ground, and then they'll go. Pucknology will be fine. I don't think it'll be a Nail Yakupov situation.
Yeah, hopefully not. Jeez, do you want to
get a 3rd round pick for your 4th overall player?
No, dude, he was 1st overall, wasn't he?
No. I meant Pucknology. Yakupov was first. Yakupov should have been a 4th overall. Well, I guess now he should have been a.
He should have been a 3rd round pick. Apparently. All right. That pretty much does it for tonight. As the backup host, I told myself I would try to keep the show to an hour, and so far I am doing that. So let's go through. Kevin, where can they find you? What are you doing?
Well, I am at Kevin Lacey 22, and I posted a ridiculously long, in-depth article breaking down every single player on the Barracuda team and even some Allen Americans. So please read that. And other than that, I just want to throw this out there because I mentioned it on the Pucknologists podcast on Thursday that Nathan Gerbe was, yeah, you know where I'm going with this, because I love this story and I got to tell anybody that I can. Nathan Gerbe was he's not a high profile player, but the New York Rangers made him a high profile signing just in the way. Oh, Nathan Gerbe is coming to the Rangers. He's amazing. And there was a Players Tribune article about what a guy who's 5'4" can do in the NHL. He's amazing. And the interview during the preseason intermission talking about, I love being in the red, white, and blue. And they sent him to the Hartford Wolfpack. And he said, peace out. I'm going to Switzerland. They released him. He signed a 3-year deal with Genève Servette. And that was it for Nathan Gerbe as a New York Ranger. I'm Kevin Lacey.
Anna, where can they find you on Twitter? Where are you writing?
I write for Inside Hockey and Sports Radio Service. I cover the Sharks and Barracuda for the most part. I also cover other sports, but on a day-to-day basis. You can find me on Twitter at AnarQ and Instagram and Snapchat at AnarchyQ. All the information is listed on my Twitter account, so you can just find me there. You can send me a tweet anytime you want to talk, and I will respond to you as long as it's not stupid.
All right, Hockey Jerk. First, I want to thank you specifically for coming on because I literally grabbed you 3 minutes before the show started, so thanks for jumping on with us. Where can they find you? What are you up to?
They can find me on Twitter at hockey_jerk. I am not Kevin Lacey. I am the reasonably drawn facsimile of Ian Reed, as he puts it. You can find me every Thursday or Friday morning, depending on what the Sharks are doing, on the Pucknologist podcast, which I would like to say again, I am also on that podcast. That and, kind of same thing as Anna, just sort of hanging out on Twitter, tweeting with people who aren't stupid, just standard Hockey Jerk stuff. So yeah, come check it out if that's your thing.
All right, awesome. Well, my name is Drew Weber. You can find me on Twitter at Puck_over_glass. I am your backup host for Pucknology Writers Room. I'll be writing more as the season goes on. We're only 2 games in, so I don't have any conclusions to draw yet. Hoping to get back into the press box when the Sharks come back from their long road trip, which of course they always have to have at the start of the year. But yeah, look out for some stuff on Pucknology because I think all of us are going to be writing very soon, except for Hockey Jerk. I guess he'll be podcasting a lot of stuff really soon.
I write with my words. I speak.
Oh, okay. I'm like, write with your words.
I have a score update for you guys.
The Hurricanes win?
They haven't won, but the 0-1 Hurricanes versus the somehow 1-0 Vancouver Canucks is 2-0 Carolina.
Woo! Sebastian Aho score? Woo!
I have no idea. I haven't gotten that far.
Probably not because he sucks.
Aho is going to be great. Don't be hating on my Hurricanes. Your Coyotes might make the playoffs because LA doesn't have a goalie.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really nice. I think that would be good enough for me to rub it in your face.
Teravainen and Rask. both in the final 2.5 minutes of the first period. That's how I missed that.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you like the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. Until next time, keep it fresh, keep it tight. Oh no, I messed it up. I can't do it.
Oh, you're fired.
Damn it, Drew.
Oh, I can't do it. I am so fired. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Later.